going to be learning the basics of the touch sensor. First of all, we're going to learn the very basics, then some more advanced things such as stopping programs using touch. The first thing we want to do is we want to talk about the touch sensor. The first program we are going to code is a simple program that allows for movement function, in this case a straight line, to be allowed to start after a touch is received. What we're going to do is we're going to use a wait block. This makes the program wait for a certain amount of time. We're going to set the parameters to touch sensor. We're going to change it to compare. We're going to click on state. These are the three different states that the touch sensor can be in. It can be in a release state once the touch sensor is released. It can be in a press state once the touch sensor is pressed. And it can be in a bump state once the touch sensor is pressed and released. The next thing that we need to do is we're going to place a move steering next to the wait icon. This will allow the robot to move forward once the touch is executed. And we're going to move it for 2 rotations. Now, simply what happens is that I'm going to set it to state 2, bumped. So, I'm going to bump the touch sensor and only then will the robot move. Now, let's test it out. The next thing we want to do is we want to get our robot to stop moving once the touch sensor is pressed down. I've named this program Touch Stop. What we're going to do is we're going to place down a wait block. We're going to change it to touch sensor, compare, and state. We're going to change the state value to 2, otherwise known as bumped. What this does is that it will start the program once we press down the touch sensor. The next thing is to place a loop icon over here. We're going to change the parameters of the loop, therefore changing it to touch sensor, state. And now we're going to change the state value to 1, which is pressed down. This will essentially end the loop once the state happens. Therefore, the touch sensor will be pressed and the loop will end. Within the loop, we're going to place a move steering block. This is the movement function. We're going to leave it on indefinitely until the loop ends. Now what's happening is that if I press the touch sensor, the loop will start and the robot will continue moving until the touch sensor is pressed down. This can be used to make it drive to a wall and then stop. Now, let's test it out. Finally, we want to edit our program so that the robot reverts back to its original position. Let's say our robot was heading towards a wall, it hits the wall and it stops. What we want to do is make it turn around and go backwards. Now, we're going to keep our original program and all we're going to do is add a move steering function. Now, we're going to reverse the power so it simply goes in the opposite direction. This is a slightly simple way, and we will also be exploring a little more advanced method. The second way of doing this is we want the robot to reverse a little and then turn in a complete U-turn direction. What we're going to do is we're going to make it wait for a certain amount of time. Let's give the robot 2 seconds to wait. The next thing we want to do is we want to reverse it slightly. So we're going to have a move steering and we're just going to change the power. We're going to make it -50. Therefore, it goes backwards. The final thing is to add another move steering as such and then change the steering value. We're going to make it all the way to 100 so that it U-turns. Remember to keep them on coast so that it's easy to transition into the next function or movement. Now, let's test this out. Thanks for watching this video. In the next video, we're going to be looking at the infrared sensor, the color sensor, and briefly at the medium motor.